Hi, my name is PJ and this is Uncommon.
Uncommon is a production by Neuralle, a full-service digital agency. If you want to grow with a premium agency and have the ability to work with Jordan directly, then learn more at neuralle.com/media and request a callback. That's neuralle.com/media.
Welcome to another episode of Uncommon. My name's Jordan Michaelides and I'm your host. In this episode, I've got for you Polly Harding, aka PJ the DJ. She's one half of Kiis FM's Jase and PJ, a radio host and all-round media personality. The entertainment factor of Jase and PJ is emphasised in the hilarious dynamic of their relationship, and Lauren and I consume Jase and PJ on the daily, thoroughly enjoying the weekday antics that they have, pickles and all. How these two don't have their own TV show yet or personalised blue ticks on Instagram is still a mystery to me, but I hope with this episode it will further highlight the need for that. In this episode we covered a lot, including the nickname Citrus Fingers, Polly's background and childhood, extroversion and performing, Jase and vulnerability, what she wished she was asked, the trend of TikTok and the team around Jase and PJ as well. Thanks very much to Dre Barber for your written review on Apple Podcasts. Guys, if you can do that, we'd love it. We've just hit 80. I'm trying to crack 100 before the end of the year. If you want to share with your friends, take a screenshot, share, post to your Instagram story, tagging at uncommon_show to watch the episode in full. As always, on YouTube, search Uncommon Show and don't forget to like and subscribe. Show notes and all previous guests are at neuralle.com/podcasts. With that being said, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you'll enjoy this conversation with PJ the DJ. PJ, the DJ.
Jordan.
How are we?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I've got I've been getting used to this this new little setup. I've been mulling over.
I like it. I feel relaxed.
What's the sort of the perfect opener to get her to have a chuckle, right? So we've actually got quite a few here, and I've got 4. Although I just want to ask, do you realise how ironic it is that you wake up at 4:20?
Yeah. I used to wake up at 4:20.
Okay,
now I
it's
meditate.
4.
It's 4 now.
Okay.
But I did used to say I wake up at 4:20, and then I was like, I wonder if people think I'm alluding to a whole different group out there.
So you said that on the kick pod, and it just went like over everyone's head. No one realised. No one thought, oh, okay.
4:20. That's so badass. No, it's 4 o'clock now because I learned to properly meditate or do the TM, transcendental meditation.
Okay, so you do TM, not mindfulness.
No. Well, it's Vedic meditation, actually. There's kind of, but it's basically the same thing.
So you have like a mantra.
Correct.
Something that you say.
I can't tell you what it is.
Yeah, I know. That's what everyone says.
Oh my God, I just forgot it for a second. Oh no, I've got it. So yeah, you learn that. I learned it over like 3 days and do it twice a day, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Friday when I'm good.
Twice a day, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I find actually that you do it in the morning because I'm like often too tired. So after this I'll meditate, sort of just to calm me down for the day a bit.
See, I do it to charge myself.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And because when I first learnt, I was under the sort of impression that it was to calm you down, which I think it still does, but this particular method, it actually helps to recharge you, which is really good when you're getting up really early. So ideally I'll do it in the morning and then I'll do it again maybe like 3 o'clock in the afternoon when you're craving the sugar or the caffeine.
Uh-huh. Do you have many naps though in the afternoon? I mean, knowing your sort of...
I did today.
Okay.
And I blame it on the full moon because I was crazy last night. Like, I don't know what happened. I had the weirdest dreams. So I kind of slept in this morning.
I also had a weird dream last night. It was, I had to tell Lauren this morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had a dream that you were pregnant with triplets and all 3 of their names were variations of Richard. And
what,
Richard,
like Rico, Ricardo?
Richard, Ricard, and Rick or Dick or something like that.
Have you looked up what that means?
No, but I know that our videographer's name is Richard.
That's concerning.
So she thought
it trips me out when I have pregnancy dreams. I'm like, I honestly will go get a test if I've had a pregnancy.
Really?
Yeah. I probably take my dreams too seriously.
Because we know that like the brain is sort of filing things away when you have really vivid dreams. So what is the thing that triggers that?
What does it actually mean? You need to look into that.
Now, in terms of the openers, I had 3 things that you've mentioned over the last 6 months.
Oh no, I say so much stupid shit.
I know. I've got here citrus fingers.
Yeah.
Man-child and hippo phase.
What a colourful past.
I know. Tell us about the citrus fingers.
So, citrus fingers was a nickname I acquired at primary school because I'd always come in with oranges, and I don't know what it was about my hands, but they would just reek of citrus. And so my friend at the time, who was like 8 or 9, aptly called me citrus fingers, and it didn't really stick. But it is sort of
unlike your hands.
Yeah, it's in my repertoire of nicknames. Which are
citrus fingers.
Quite extensive. She's actually recently moved to Melbourne. She's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I hope that didn't scar you as a child.
Wow. That's interesting. It is a good nickname though. Like, I mean, yeah, I think it's a great nickname.
What was the other one?
Hippo phase and man-child.
Hippo phase. That came in.
Hippo phase, I think.
Oh, hippo phase. Yeah, no, that was when I was playing hockey. I had some pretty ruthless nicknames actually as a kid. I'm surprised they didn't scar me more. I think it's because like I had pretty jumbo thighs back then, and I got called Hippo.
Yeah,
and I was fine with it.
Interesting.
So anyway, that passed, and then there was man-child, which was what my classics teacher called me.
Okay,
we had a good relationship. It was all good. Like.
The hippo face thing and the because you do have very strong thighs. That is like a notable feature.
Thank you.
And I'd say that I always get this from I've got one of my best mates. Actually, my best man is like me. He's sort of got a WOG background, and it's WOGs are notorious for having
big
thick thighs. You know.
It's good though.
So I was curious, like, does she have that background? And then I know you've mentioned in prior interviews. You know that you're sort of from an English background. So where does it come from? Who in the family has the power thighs?
So I always try and claim I'm Spanish or Italian or something really beautifully exotic like that. But my mum is English. Grew up in Somerset. My dad was Welsh, but we think maybe there was some Spanish blood in there because he was really dark features.
Right.
Yeah.
Like dark eyes
dark
and hair?
eyebrows. Looked like he could have been in a Spanish film. So, so I don't know. I really hold on to that.
Have you ever done 23andMe?
No.
Have you heard of that?
No. Is that like a My Ancestry thing?
I feel like My Ancestry thing is something that's come along recently, but it will tell you literally the breakdown of your DNA.
I kind of don't want to know because then that's probably going to tell me I'm not Spanish.
You'd be surprised though.
It's going to break my heart.
You'd be surprised. Like, I mean, I did mine. Obviously, I had the background from my dad, and then there was my mum who's sort of English, Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah.
But it tells you all sorts of things, like you're 10%. Like I was 10% French and German. There's some sort of Scandinavian in there.
Really?
And it makes sense. I mean, if your family's from Somerset, surely there's been some Spanish traders that have come through the way, mixing along the way.
I don't know what it is, my obsession with it, but I loved Spanish at school. Like if I didn't do broadcasting, which was kind of a last minute decision, I was going to go and do a Bachelor of Arts degree, specialising in Spanish. But I never did. Life could have been very different.
Did you do it up to like year 12 or your last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
In New Zealand we call it year 13, which I got so confused about when I came here. But
is that because like what we call prep is just year 1?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That is weird that we have that here.
Yeah, it got me really confused. But that was literally what I was going to do. So I was like so passionate about it, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to try and be on the radio.
Well, thinking of childhood, I mean, it's quite obvious based on the things you spoke about. The fact that you wanted to be like a weather girl, you would take over the news.
I did. I think I was always quite
regular performing. I mean, we can see it in other ways. You got the New Zealand's most famous pop rock band, Spying on Joe.
Oh my God, you've really done your research. Wow.
I mean, you can see it in you, and as I found this so funny. I was showing Lauren this. You as the Pagician.
Oh, don't Google that. So I
You can see that you were clearly like an individual who has always like been extroverted and into performing.
Yeah, I actually kind of wish I explored drama more at school because
Yeah.
I never got any good roles or anything like that. I think I played like a dead person. And one of our school plays, that was probably, my peak in drama. So I don't know, like I still feel like there's a lot of that stuff I wish I explored a bit more. Which you can always do down the track.
Hindsight bias is always good.
Yeah.
Though. It's always good to look back on things.
Yeah. And like I loved music, and I would still be open to doing that again.
Okay.
In the future, I reckon.
When do you think was the moment you realised like this is my thing? Do you think it wasn't until you got into uni and you had to create this radio station, or was it earlier on?
I remember getting to broadcasting school. So just for context, it's like a 2-year course back in New Zealand, and it's full on, like you're thrown in the deep end. You literally have to run your own station. Everyone has to do like the ads for it, the on air, the news, you name it, you're doing it. Like you're creating this whole thing. And yeah, when I first started out, I was like, I am so much shitter than everyone else here. Everyone was really confident and would get up in front of the class, and when I just feel like a stumbling mess. And I was like, I don't know why you chose me into this, because there were like 20 people in your class.
Okay.
And so I did feel like I was maybe like mismatched, and I was a bit of an imposter. I was like, how am I here? And then it wasn't until we properly got to go on air. And I think we were doing like a mock drive shot. Well, no, it wasn't. It was actually really on air that I really loved it. And
so it was drive.
yeah. Well, no, also we did, I think I did some like on air shifts in the daytime.
Yeah.
By myself, and I would not trust myself at all. So I'd write out scripts. Everything I would write was so crafted because I didn't trust myself, because I knew how just awkward or random, and I was so scared of that side coming out.
But what was the difference between drive and that? Was it because the
drive, you've got the other people to bounce off.
Okay,
so they're there to catch you. Ideally, I don't know if they.
So you felt like almost the chains were released. You could just go for it.
100%.
The downside was capped. You didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
If I fuck it up, they'll be there for me.
Yes, ideally. And whether they were, I don't know. We were all such rookies at the time. And I think that was so fun. And it made me realise that you can play. And when you sort of discover the play element of radio, it's so fun.
Yeah, I can see that now. I can see a lot of that now. A lot of it starts to make sense. We'll get into breakfast in a moment, because that is what you do now. But when you're talking about your parents, I was thinking about lessons that you've learnt from then. Maybe as you were a kid, that it might have been something directly or indirectly at all. Is there something that really stands out to you today still?
Yeah, that's a good question. I look back on my childhood so fondly. My grandmother actually helped bring me up a lot, because my mum and dad were at work a lot. So mum, doctor, dad, lawyer. They were very busy, but they still, spent a lot of time with us. But my grandmother, she was such a character. She was like
this is Joe, right?
Joe, yes, which is where PJ comes from.
Okay.
So she brought me up essentially a lot of the time. So I was lucky. It was like I had 3 parents. And
was this at a very young age, like 4, 5, 6?
Yeah.
I had the same thing with
really?
my grandma. Yeah.
It's special though. It's
very
really special because you get another element and another person to love you, essentially. Yeah. And she was really bold, and she'd just do things her way. She'd just love pissing people off. Like she had quite, not conservative family, but she had family back in the UK, and she'd just go out of her way to wear like outrageous outfits just for a bit of a reaction. And she just, I don't know, she didn't really care. But she was so loving to everyone in our family, and she sort of, she was incredible. But so on top of having her, I had mum and dad, and I think they were never pushing their what they wanted on me. They were like, you've got to follow your heart, and I think that was really important, because I was never pushed down a law degree or a medical or anything like that. It's like, Paddy, you got to find what you like doing, and Apart from, like, I remember Mum did try and make me play the piano, and I sort of resented her a bit at the time. And I was like, I don't like this because you're telling me to do it. You know, sometimes when someone says, do this.
Are you the type now that revisits and goes, oh, I wish I played piano?
Yes. And I used to actually be like quite good, and I'm like, damn it, I wish I could have tried a bit harder.
Lauren's got the same thing. She's like, oh, I really want to relearn the piano and learn German. Like,
I just wish I listened more at school.
Yeah. It's one of those things when you're a kid. I think you're onto something. When your parents tell you to do something, it's immediately worse off.
Your brain just says, meh.
I've got this opinion, and I heard someone talk about this recently on a podcast. Like, they were saying, I wanted to get my kid to read a book, and this kid might have been 5 or 6 or something like that. And or maybe they were like 8 or 9. So they've passed the stage of like they're learning how to read. And so what they did is they just bought a bunch of different types of books and they just went and put them in their room and just let them figure it out themselves. And over time they started to read, this certain, maybe it's a sci-fi type of book. And then they'd go down this route and they're like, I want to get all these books. And so by the end of it, they really love to read instead of the parent going,
instead of resenting it, which you do. Like, I think it is a brain's natural reaction sometimes. If someone says do not do it and they use it in a negative kind of way, your brain just wants to do the opposite.
It's all about incentives, I reckon.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, it's got to be. Like, it's always easier when you've got a positive incentive, sort of like a carrot in front of you rather than
whereas if you don't do that, you're in trouble.
Because the example with my parents was that we're really like a really health conscious, sporty type family, right? So we never had junk food in the house.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I rebelled big time. As soon as I had a job,
you'd go to birthday parties and you'd be the dude just at the end of the table smashing
and I'd
all
get
the fairy
sick.
bread.
And actually, my teacher, when I was like 12 years old, used to remark about this to my parents. Like, and she used to say it to me, we'd have these days where you bring in food and like everyone shares the food and it was all junk food basically. Yeah. And she's like, now Jordan, be careful because you get sick.
Yeah, it's so true.
And I just think it's because they really were like too overbearing with junk food. And if they just had it there, I would have just
you would
seen
have had a more healthy relationship with it. And
I would have sort of seen what they do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's really interesting.
On the point of your grandma, it's did you ever find that like you had a real friendship with her? That was sort of the relationship?
Yes, absolutely. It's interesting because like also with my mum, I suppose when I was going through these teenage years where a lot of people would have they'd start having that conflict with their mothers. I never really got that. So I'm actually because I guess, I don't know, like the parenthood was kind of spread out over 3 and I didn't have that intense conflict that often comes during adolescence, which is quite cool. So I've kind of just completely derailed your question. But yes, first of all, about my grandmother, definitely, like, she unfortunately got dementia in the end. And
Same with
really?
my grandma. Yeah. How old were you when she got it?
I would have been 9. It was sort of in my teenage years, and then she passed away when I was 20. So it was sort of like the final few years where it really sort of took over, and it was just horrible because it was this
really bad
lady who had been, such a strong woman, and then you just, it's an awful
it's
disease.
The worst thing. I mean, I had the same thing. I think it was around when I was about 5, 6. We used to spend a lot of time with my grandma and grandpa. My grandpa was Greek and he actually passed away when I was like 5-ish or something like that. So I had faint memories of him, and then we moved in with her for like a year because we were renovating a house. So we literally lived with her for quite some time. And we always just had that strong relationship, and it was interesting how it became a friendship almost. I'd say almost certainly a friendship, but it's really sad. I was actually just pulling something out of the cupboard recently because she had dementia. She used to have this like board.
Yeah.
It was always in the bathroom in her house, and it was about the clock of life or something. It's some cutout. You know how like grandmas, they love to cut out things.
Yeah.
And it's so sad because on the back, it's when she moved into the home that we had to move her into in the last few years because she'd had a fall, and this is sort of what caused her dementia. And she sort of wrote this note like thanking like thanks to my family and the stuff. It's just like, oh, I hate reading it, but I also love reading it because you sort of, at the end of the day, they're no longer here, but you sort of you get an essence of them.
Well, with the reason I was saying that she sort of had dementia, one of the things she loved to do was drive, and we'd go on these big drives back in the day, just through the country, and that was sort of our special time. And especially towards the end when she couldn't drive, I'd just take her out, because she was a retirement home as well. I'd just take her out for these meaningless drives into the countryside, and she'd just be so happy, and we'd just go get like a pie from like a small country place, and yeah, it was beautiful. Like,
yeah, I love it.
It was really special.
What type of music did your mum listen to? Grandmother listen to?
What did she listen to? She was always had the news on.
Okay.
She would have probably loved jazz back in the day.
Yeah.
Jazz and classical music.
Yeah, my grandmother would blare classical music, and I was just saying in like last week's episode, I've got a real affinity for not so much classical music, but sort of electronic music that integrates that to like a cinematic orchestra.
It's interesting how as you get older, you really appreciate the stuff that when you're a child, you were like, this is lame.
Exactly. Now back on the point of your extroversion. We're talking about the position.
The position, yes. So this is where I was at.
You realise, this is when you were properly in radio by then.
Yeah.
So this was for Jase's. I got a feeling it was Jase's kid's birthday.
Yeah, this was last year.
Okay.
And I got asked to play the entertainment for his son's 5th or 6th birthday party. 5th birthday party, and be the magician.
Okay.
And do some tricks.
Okay.
And I call myself the magician. It's bloody awkward. I've done so much awkward stuff. I had to do stand-up comedy a few years ago for the show.
Why could I not find that online?
Don't. Please don't. If I tell you one thing, don't do that.
Well, this is what I found online. Where did I put this note? There was okay, the first one, this is a really good one, is the April 4th. So this is back when you're on ZM.
ZM, yep.
ZM, sorry. You had so the guys played. There was Dead Air Chicken, the April Fool's breakfast hosting bit. Do you remember that, where they made you come in because they were all sick?
Yes.
All three of I can't even remember who the fuck it was.
And we weren't actually going to air.
No, you were just speaking to yourselves.
It was so good. It was
and
really
then the
well
Vegas
done.
wedding.
Oh, the Vegas wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
With your I think it was with your current partner at the time?
No? Partner at the time.
Yeah.
Who was Jase's mate.
Okay.
And this was really, so like prior to working with Jase, it had always been kind of music, pretty, like in and out of songs, not really delving into my personal life that much.
Okay.
So I started working with Jase. It was like I just got hit by a train because he was like, boom, all right. Which is great, but it was a shock to the system because he'd done such a different style. And so we had to find this common ground where I was like so green and like,
Okay, so this is the interesting thing. So you were in radio for 7 years, I think, right? Before you and Jase got together. I think it was like 2015?
2015. I'd been at ZM 11, 12. That would have been like my 5th year at ZM.
Okay. So they sort of almost set you both on a blind date. They're like, okay, we think you could be a good duo.
Yeah.
Go meet with each other. What was the first thing? What was the first thing you noticed about Jase?
I do remember we just clicked. Like we did have good chemistry straight out the gates.
Okay.
I think he was like, who is this freak? Because I was in the corner of a pub and it was really dark and I was charging my phone.
Yeah.
And he was like, who? Like, I had to look over into the corner. I was like, hey, and I was on my phone. So, yeah, that was sort of the first time we met. And it was like, okay. I think it had a heads up from the lady who'd put us together that I was a bit of a different character. So we clicked really soon on. And it was lucky because it could have gone the other way. And it would have been horrible. Like, honestly, I cannot imagine doing this job with someone that you don't genuinely click with on air.
Yeah. I think what Jase does really well is he's able to... So you talk about integrating too many personal things. Do you think there's radio before and after Jase? Because I feel like, in a way, he's the one that's able to entice you to unravel that stuff.
Absolutely.
And therefore, it makes for good radio.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it was such a shock to the system, but oh my God, like in that year and in the following years working with him, I think I learned that vulnerability is so important in the radio industry, and being on air, and you don't really resonate with people until you really put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Which can be hard.
Can
be really hard.
I mean, you've spoken about this in prior interviews about divulging too much, right? But what does vulnerability mean, do you think? Is it I guess I'm trying to think, how much do you without, because you've been asked it a million times, what's sort of the mark? Because I say to myself, like, what do I want to say? Okay, well, I don't want to give out names of people, like actual names, and I know you've spoken about that. So where do you sort of draw it at?
Well, okay, first of all, what's vulnerability? I think it's digging deep into something deep inside that, you know, you feel really connected to, that, you know, you're scared that other people might have like thoughts on that, you know, you can't really connect with. But really it's just, God, that was such a shit answer. Got that fit out. Hang on.
No, we're definitely keeping this in. This is the clip too.
No. So for me, vulnerability is take two. Damn it. I really wanted to come in here and be really smooth. Just like really profound and deep, and sit down and just say, to me, vulnerability is, but it is digging deep, and it's being completely honest with your audience. And
so just talking about what's on your mind, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like I do. I mean, when you're an extroverted person, you just do that, right? And then
I don't know if I'm an extrovert though.
Really?
I think I probably am, but I also love...
You love your alone time.
Yeah.
You love pampering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you said in one of your interviews, you take self-care to like...
The next level?
Yeah, to the next level. Now, there's something to that, and I'll get into it later, but with your OCD-ness.
Yes.
Because I've definitely got that.
Have you?
Not diagnosed.
In what capacity?
Like I have anxiety, but I've got OCD. My anxiety manifests in like OCD features.
Uh-huh.
So
Same.
I'm very, very particular about things, and I wonder if that makes you a sort of a person of leisure. You need to be sort of, I don't know what the word is, like you need to be sort of in perfect comfort all the time.
Yeah, I think for me the whole pampering thing is, I just know that the brain can go wild if I don't take care of myself. And for me, you know, it changes all the time. It might be a run. At the moment, that's just where I get sanity. Or it might be yoga, or it might be meditation, or it might be getting a massage or a float. Okay, I do get a little bit carried away. But I think at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to take care of yourself, because especially when I'm in an environment where I'm around people, I need to be on and I need to be positive.
Yeah.
And so I need to do whatever I can to fill my cup. And
Yeah.
I don't think there should be any negative connotations with that. I think sometimes
100%.
people are like, oh, you just bloody look after yourself. Well, actually, I'm doing it for the people around me as well.
I started recently where I reckon I sleep about 9 hours a night. I never used to.
So jealous.
Yeah.
I miss those days.
It must be very hard with waking up at 4 a.m. So I sleep 9 hours and I exercise first thing in the morning. And
again, I'm jealous. I can't do that.
so I used to really struggle, pardon me, like exercising in the morning. But now I realize it's the greatest thing ever.
It's the best thing for your mind.
Yeah. And you're just stoked for the rest of the day. You get the things you need to get done in the first few hours, and then the rest of your day is just like...
And things just don't
cruising.
bug you as much
Not at all.
as they do, right?
And if I get the sleep as well, because I used to be like, okay, 7 hours, I'll set the alarm. Now I try and find days where I can not be setting the alarm. And seriously, man, it's like all of my worries in the world are just gone.
I'm so jealous. I used to have
And
that
I used to
life.
be-
I used to have that life.
I used to be in denial of the fact that I needed lots of sleep. I used to say like, oh, you know, like...
Oh, I
my
could
dad
run on
is-
5-6 hours. Oh,
my
no.
dad, he has 6 hours. He's a hard worker. He runs a business. Oh, yeah, I can do that for sure. But no, I'm exactly like my mum. She needs like 8-9 hours
We
a night.
underestimate how much as humans we need sleep and
Yeah.
how it completely like,
A lot of us are in denial.
yeah,
A lot of us are in denial.
yeah.
How many hours do you reckon you get at the moment?
Probably 6 to 7.
Fuck.
But again, on top of that, I will try on a good day to meditate twice a day, 20 minutes. And if not, I'll try and get a little nap in there.
So there's have you tried like biphasic sleep?
No, what's that?
It's where you sort of sleep like 6.5 hours and then you have like a half an hour nap in the afternoon.
Yeah, I suppose I'm kind of like that.
Yeah. It's apparently meant to be actually better for you.
Really?
Yeah, apparently up until we had electric lights, we used to sleep like in biphasic sort of.
Like a siesta in the afternoon?
No, like as in we would sleep from when dusk came till say like midnight. Then you'd get up and have supper and then you'd go back to sleep until dawn.
Really?
Yeah. So you'd sleep for like 4 hours. That's apparently the natural mode of us.
It's fascinating, eh?
Super fascinating.
That is interesting.
I love just hearing, like, because sleep is like the trend fitness health topic at the moment, right?
It is.
And so there's all these neuroscientists and psychologists talking about it, and there's so much information about it. The fact is, we still know sweet F all about it.
I got probably a little bit too obsessed with it. We did a 56-hour on-air marathon
Yeah.
earlier this year, which was we'd done 51, 52, 53, and if I always forget how many hours. Stupid amount of hours. And building up to that, I became obsessed with my sleep patterns because we got some guy who reached out to track our sleeping habits.
Okay.
And then I became obsessive, as I do, and a bit of a hypochondriac, and I was looking at it going, oh my God, I've only had 4 hours sleep. And
What are
then,
you looking at? Your Apple Watch?
he gave us like a sleep tracking watch.
Like a
was more
Fitbit or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then it would correlate with your phone. One of those ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just became obsessed. And then I think it was the anxiety building up
It
to
makes you
staying
more
awake
anxious,
for
yeah.
that long because we were staying up for 56 hours. I just was like, I was not insomniac because I know that it's probably not quite there, but I was sleeping like 1 to 3 hours a lot of nights.
What's your
Horrible.
like bedtime routine? Do you have like a mask? Do you?
I did
Like,
for a while.
I use sort of nasal strips, and you laugh at this.
Are you a
one.
snorer?
Well, we all sort of are, depending on how we sleep.
Yeah.
So if we all lie on our back, we end up snoring.
Everyone?
Yeah,
Really?
bound to. Yeah, it's bad tongue posture.
Really?
Yeah, that's what causes
I wake
it.
up, my boyfriend will like push me. I'll be waking up and he'll be pushing me out of the bed.
Do you sleep on your back or your side?
Don't know.
Okay,
Everywhere.
you've got to be sleeping at your age. You're probably sleeping on your back.
Is that bad?
It's not, because what happens is that if you imagine you're lying there, your tongue and your jaw start to relax,
Yeah.
and therefore it starts to compress on the back of your throat, and that's what stops the passage of air. So I've had to reteach myself to sleep on my side.
Right.
So that's a good change.
Yeah.
And then I
But then I can't stay in that position all night.
No, you got to flip from
I love
side to
being in the
side.
fetus position.
Yeah, that's the
I love it, and I cuddle
apparently
it.
the optimal position.
Is it? Because I
Yeah.
put a pillow in between. I sandwich it with
Lauren
my
does
legs.
the same thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so comforting. Why is that? Is that because it's like what we were like in the womb?
Well, apparently, like this is when I was looking at this stuff. If you look at most like primitive villages today, they will all sleep like that, and they sleep on their arm, sort of.
I do
like
that sometimes too.
Yeah, so that's the way that we inherently sleep, and so you would switch sides. You'd switch from side to side. You'd never sleep on your back normally because you don't have the material for it. It's just because we've got, like a nice cushy
Bed,
mattress.
yeah, exactly.
So they talk about all sorts of things like stitching half a tennis ball into your back so you don't roll onto your back. I don't do that. I just try and make sure that.
What? What?
I-
You put a tennis ball on your back?
Yeah, so you don't lie on your back. It's like a training mechanism.
Yeah, I snore bad. I used to, because I went to boarding school, I'd wake up with like shoes, a pile of shoes at my head because people had thrown shoes at me in the night.
Really?
Yeah. I was fine. I was fine. It was more like just a warning.
So yeah, I use the nasal strip and a mouth strip to stop me from.
What do you do with the mouth strip?
Put
Put it over your lips.
Yeah, it stops you from.
Can you breathe?
Through your nose. That's why you use the nose strip. You're meant to breathe through your nose and not,
I'm always like, because apparently you've always got one that's more.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I've had a bit of a cold, but one's way clearer.
So you...
Because it always changes, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you've got a smaller nose like Lauren, so that also doesn't help.
Yeah.
So, like, the nasal strip, like, really sort of like...
Oh, when you call that... Oh, my God, that's good.
That's the thumbnail.
Screw you, man. Jordan, you need to be my friend here. Oh, that's good.
Now, back on Jase, because I know he wants us to talk a lot about him in this episode.
He'll have FOMO.
And I know that you've declared many times that he essentially is your work husband.
Yeah.
What have you learnt about the business from him?
Oh, so much. He compliments me in so many ways, in the sense that he has a lot of skills I don't. He's a creative genius.
The old lab rat.
The old lab rat. Back in the day, he'd hate that. He hates
it.
He hates it.
I can't
He
believe
used to be
that
called
Jase
Labby.
was Labby. Yeah. I used to listen to Hot 30. Labby.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, so good. I really want to dig up some old like recordings.
It's very hard to find.
Yeah.
Very, very hard.
But he's taught me to stick to your guns. I think I used to be a real pushover. I think just throughout life in general, I'm probably a people pleaser, so I'd always say yes. But I think when I started working with him, you know, he would say no. Like, do you want to interview this person? Is it like? And he taught me to really go through our filters and be like, okay, is this what we want to achieve?
Yeah.
And have kind of more of a direction and just saying yes to everything.
And do you feel like you've made him a more receptive person? Because this sort of sounds
I like to think I've softened him and he's hardened me.
Yeah. Because I've got this with Lauren, like I oftentimes I get her to read my emails.
Yeah.
If they're a bit like too direct,
Harsh.
I'm like, yeah, can you just like
You do
soften
use
it
a
up?
lot of full stops.
Do I?
Yeah.
Fuck.
I use too many exclamation marks.
Full stops or exclamation marks? Maybe.
Nah, I think it was full stops. I was like, oh, am I in trouble? You know, when like.
I don't know. I just
no, my
like,
boyfriend's the same though. Like when he sends messages, I'm like, babe, it looks like you're angry. You need to use a bit more punctuation.
Okay, so this is the agreeableness thing. That like sometimes I look at Lauren's emails and I'm like, there's too many
I
exclamations.
know, that's me though. You just don't want to come across cold.
Yeah.
But then you're way too keen.
It's so hard to judge tone over email, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's very, very hard.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest email you've received in the business?
I've received quite a few messages about having my shoes. People want... It's weird, man. It's a thing and it's regular.
I've got to ask then, how many messages have you received on Instagram about your feet?
A lot. There's probably about 3 or 4 accounts.
Okay, I don't
that
know.
are persistent, that when there's a photo that contains my feet, I'll get a message or... They'll like always like it, or they'll say something like gorgeous,
and then
like
they
gorgeous
all...
under a foot photo. Whereas
I've
got
like
the most hideous feet in the world.
Are they all like burner accounts? Like they're not real people?
I think they're real people.
Oh fuck!
I think they're real people. It's a real fetish.
I don't get it. I don't
get it either. But
I spoke to Tully about it, and I don't. I understand it is a real fetish in sort of the porn industry, but I just don't understand where it came from or why it makes any sense.
You looked at my toes, could not get a more unattractive image. Like, really. It's pretty funny. What else have I got as an email?
Email or Insta? What's the thing that you must get Instagram messages all the time, right?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes.
What's the weirdest shit that you
receive? Nah. What have I got? I get riddles all the time because we do the daily riddle. That's really boring. No, what do I get? I don't know.
What do you?
It was probably good when I was single because like people slide in the DMs. But I've got no game, so I'd fuck it up.
Oh fuck! That's so funny.
Yeah.
What's the thing that you wish people would ask you?
I like it when people genuinely, I guess, want to know about stuff that I'm passionate about. And then it's like, oh, cool, like I'm actually resonating.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll post really shitty pictures of my meals and people will be like, hey, can I have the recipe? And I'm like, it actually looked like ass. Like, I don't know why you want to cook it. But they do and they take interest in like, that's actually really cool.
That's the best bit. We had a guy, because we were changing this up last night, cutting fingers, moving tables, all
That's
sorts.
good. It's homely.
It is home. We just bought a neon sign. So I posted a checklist on
You
my
need
Instagram.
a bottle of whiskey or something.
Yeah, we need like
a decanter.
We need a better table. So we're speaking to a sponsor about new furniture. So we need like a new table. I'd like some more loungy. These chairs are great.
When you say sponsor, is it going to have a massive IKEA sticker?
No, it'll be like on the video beforehand. Like
right.
This podcast is sponsored to you by blah blah blah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we want to.
You're not going to do the subliminal.
No,
messaging
fuck no. It's all going to be branded.
As I sip a Pepsi.
Nice little neon sign just here with Uncommon.
Oh, that's cool.
We just got that made. I think it takes like 2 weeks. So we posted about that, and someone who follows me was like, "Oh, I guess I won't be making a neon sign." Then I felt horrible, and he's like, "Oh no, it's all good, but just next time, let me know." And then we got chatting, and he's like, "Oh, you should." And he gave me some like really good recommendations for guests or people that he knew.
Yeah.
And I love that shit. I really, really love it.
Yeah.
I mean, we are absolute nobodies still on social media. We might have like maybe 1,300, 1,400 followers.
Do you kind of work hard at that, I suppose? Because that's
not as yet, because I still work for 4 days a week for someone else.
Really?
Yeah, we're sort of in this space now where Lauren's just gone full time.
Yeah.
And I'm gunning for that over the next year. And that's sort of part of the move of the studio as well.
That's awesome.
So it's just, it's time, I guess. But to do it full time would be fucking amazing. And I know if I was doing it full time, I would just non-stop be on social media because I don't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
Like it's part of the promotion of the show.
It's probably kind of nice though not having
It's
to
probably
worry
is.
about that right now.
But I just feel
because
like
once you're in it, you just get obsessed.
my day is nothing to talk about because it's got nothing to do with the podcast. It's got nothing to do with our agency business. It's to do with working for someone in finance, and I just don't think anyone really gives a fuck at all.
I'm sure there'll be a little niche market.
Yeah,
out there.
I'm sure. But like, it's like one of those things. Like, what do you talk about? I mean, you must have this, right? Even though you're on radio, you sometimes feel like, what do I post about?
Yeah. Or even talking about on a daily basis.
Do you struggle with like the...
and again, this comes back to running and just clearing my head, because sometimes you're just like, why the hell do people want to hear what I've got to say? You're so boring. You've said that shit so many times, because like every day I'll be writing down notes or I'll be trying to take note. And I think sometimes when you try harder to notice stuff, you just can't find anything. Whereas if you relax and you're like, oh, just let it happen. Oh, yeah, cool. Oh, yeah, that's there. It's easier to take down notes. But yeah, like sometimes I'm like, my shit's so irrelevant.
Like I notice, and I'm not the only one. I'm sure everyone struggles with it, but I notice how many influencers they hate the sort of, like, this is why the Steph Claire Smiths of the world are such brilliant marketers. They have no qualms with, they've
genius.
perfectly aligned what they love in life with what they're doing.
So there's nothing unnatural about what they're doing.
All
And I
they're
think
doing is
that's-
documenting their day.
Totally. And
Yeah.
that's so important for whether it is influencing or, teaming up with a brand or whatever. You've got to make sure it's authentic,
Yeah.
because otherwise it just doesn't, it's a bit discombobulated. And it's just
Maybe
awkward.
this is something that you should chat to old mate Jen Day, who's been on the show.
Oh, yeah?
Little Miss Influencer Manager. Yeah.
That's interesting.
She's fascinating with like finding out what people are good at, what they're good at talking about, and then giving them something to go with it. I think.
Because I think over the last year, particularly, like influencers have got maybe not the best rap.
No.
And I think that comes from people not being authentic. It comes from just blasting the same old shit, and people just feel rubbish about their own lives.
Yeah.
So I think it's about, if you've got that authentic connection and you are truly passionate, then
You've got to be doing something of value. You can't just be.
yeah.
I don't think you can just be an influencer anymore.
Yeah.
I think those days are passing because
Which is good. Because
it is good. I mean, the fact is that there are celebrities who are on Instagram, TikTok now that are actually like, they're
God,
movie
TikTok
stars.
stresses me out.
Does it?
Trying to get on it, and I just feel so old.
You say that now, but that's what we all said about Instagram.
I know. Like, I tried to do a video this morning. I reckon I've seriously injured myself from attempting some of these videos.
Are you on TikTok?
Jason PJR.
Oh, that's right, because I follow you guys. Okay, I thought you were for a second.
I'm not personally yet.
Okay.
I'm not quite there.
Because we've been experimenting with it because we have a few clients, they're like, what's TikTok about? And so now we're discussing in meetings TikTok corporate strategies.
So is it because all I've seen is like the videos where it's like to a song where you're just trying this little
The
random
X
thing.
challenge.
Right.
Yeah, the Get Up challenge or whatever.
Is that essentially
No.
the whole thing?
Nah. It's, okay, this is how to explain it. It's like you took the video first element of Instagram and stories and you plonk it on the overlay of Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got really good discoverability, so it's really easy to get discovered.
Yeah, so if you like tag in someone, then instantly. Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
It's all about the hashtags and it's all about what is trending typically inside that niche. That being said, you go on all these, like, I tagged something for anxiety. There was only 100 posts under anxiety. And I'm just like,
it 'cause
wow,
it doesn't really-
this is like an open slaver. Like it's like Malibu 200 years ago.
Yeah.
All this vacant real estate and everyone's just waiting to get onto it.
Wow.
That's the way I
So
see it.
you reckon it can be deep and serious as well?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there's
Because
lots
I
of
just see it
business
and I
stuff.
just see like
You just got
quirky little
16-year-olds.
stupid videos. I was putting chubba chubs on my nose yesterday, for God's sake, to try and be relevant.
I had a video. I was just trying to think back to this actual video. So we've played around. There was one we made. It's got 40,000 views already, and it was about going to the toilet in Japan.
Oh, in the ground?
No. Okay, so
one's
have you
with-
been to Japan?
No, I really want to go.
Okay, in Japan there's a brand of toilet make. You know how the robot toilets?
Yeah.
It's called Toto Washlet, right?
Yeah.
So it's all the toilets are like robots essentially, and so
Is this the one where there's all those different buttons?
yes.
I see.
So the whole bit was about me. It's about going to the toilet in Japan, and you hear Toto's Africa in the background, and then I walk
Stop
up,
it.
and then I zoom into the Toto logo, and then the robot thing just starts to open on itself. Yeah, you can have a look at it. It's quite funny.
Oh, wait. Toto wasn't actually playing. You just put it.
No, I
into
was playing it.
Oh, my God. And there's gone gangbusters.
Yeah,
It's-
makes no sense.
It's interesting. It's kind of, I wonder how it's training our brains.
I do wonder. I mean, it is mainly 16 and 18-year-olds on there, but I
Yeah.
just think there's
Definitely.
massive realism. You and Jase have to. I mean, your
Yeah,
team's really, really good. Like when it comes to social.
We've got a very good team with social and video.
Yeah.
Like when we moved to Australia, that was the biggest sort of difference, just the sheer amount of people that you've got to support the show.
Yeah, you pulled over 3 people.
You can thank Jase for that.
Yeah. It's good though.
No, it is. It is. Well, again, like if something's working, then keep going.
Yeah, and the thing is that you can trust those people to do the thing they
Exactly,
need to do
and
in
they
that
understand
area.
the show. And I
Yeah.
think especially when you're coming into a new market, you want to be really clear of what you are and not try to be, pushed into being more salacious and gossipy and all that kind of stuff, when really that's not who we are. So I think we were pretty adamant to not go down that road. So I think that was creating that team around you was quite important.
Yeah, because that's an interesting thing. You guys, we can get onto surveys. You guys do your surveys every 8 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever
Favourite
it is.
time of the year.
Favourite time of the year.
Yeah,
And
doesn't make me
you,
anxious.
you sort of sound like the only team that bring in your so it doesn't sound like Jason PJ is just Jason PJ and you're these individuals and you hate each other and you're there for payday. You guys are there, you get along, you've got a team, the team has input.
Yeah, I just don't think that's sustainable long term.
Yeah, it sort of seems like the newer model, if you know what I mean.
We cannot function without our team, and
Yeah.
And that sort of team morale and vibe is so important because you really can hear it through the airwaves. If there's, that.
You bring them into it as well.
Yeah,
They give you a chop out.
Like it's just a nicer place to be.
Yeah.
It's actually fun going into work. There's no tension. There's no iciness.
How did you all go with moving from drive to breakfast?
So,
Because you're coming from...
I think I probably was really, really scared. I was so scared because I was like, I've never been a really early morning person, and I'd been blessed with night show and drive show where I got to sleep in and just have a morning of leisure and then traipse on into work. So, it was quite a shock to the system. But I think we've sort of dealt with it the best way we can. And it's sort of just doing it, It's just hearing that alarm. Yeah, it sucks. And God, it sucks in the winter sometimes. And you are cooked by the time holidays come around and you just really need that holiday.
Yeah.
But you've got to be strict as well. Routine is pretty key.
But other than the sleep, what do you think you really miss from doing drive? Is there do you think there's any real difference nowadays? Because you guys are there and I know Jase has spoken about it in his interview that it's all about just making people have a laugh, which is not much different from drive. Yeah,
I think what we loved about New Zealand, we were a very escape kind of show. Like people would finish their days and you just tune in, and it was never going to really be serious. It was, just something people could tune in to forget their shitty day. It's like, cool, let's go home. With being a breakfast, as much as we try and recreate that show, I still think there is the inevitability that you do need to tackle more serious topics to a degree sometimes. Which has been challenging. We're really good as well. Like, I think we've learned a lot. But, when we're in our true essence, I think we're in that silly state. Yeah.
But you know what? Like, I feel like that comedic element can bring those serious topics. And I've watched a few of those clips. There's many topics, someone raising money for cancer, whatever it may be. I feel like the comedic element almost makes it a bit more relatable for people or makes it easier to go at. Also, I think when you are being silly a lot of the time and then you do choose to stamp your foot down and talk about something quite serious, it stands out so much more. Yeah.
That's
like, for sure.
Like, whoa, hang on.
Yeah.
Ears prick up. Like, these
people's
guys?
Tone change.
Yeah. And so I think it is probably more profound when it's, not something you do all the time, but when you do it, it just has a bit more meaning.
On the point of seeking discomfort, which I guess going into breakfast would have been like, I found interesting you spoke about the wellness retreats, because I wonder if that's an element of it that you now are sort of like a discomfort junkie. Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean the wellness retreat?
Because in wellness retreats, you're often.
Do you mean how I want to do that?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. Yeah, I do.
When do you think you sort of, or what do you think you get out of that? Is it like a flow state for you?
I don't know.
Or do you feel like afterwards you've grown a bit and that's what you love about it?
I don't know why I'm drawn to it. I think my mum sort of introduced me to this whole world of alternative energies and health and crazy things. And I've just sort of had a fascination for it for a while. And I don't know. I as much as like radio, you help people, I guess, on the day-to-day basis by laughing. I don't know why. I just feel like I need to write, and there's this serious part of me that hasn't come out yet. And I feel like down the track, there's going to be this, I don't know, like there's this nurturing part of me I kind of want to unveil.
Yeah.
Which sounds really weird.
But I feel like that still, back on that point of comedy, it does really help people.
I think you probably...
It's that element of vulnerability.
I think you underestimate it, especially on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Just because you sort of go into work, you kind of forget that you are actually communicating with people. You're not just in the studio with each other.
Because I've noticed, actually, when I think about it, when I'm watching you or Jase on social media, I actually naturally, like, I'm sort of smiling, if that makes sense. Like, either internally...
Like, you bloody idiot.
Or like I'm actually smiling. And I feel like that's what comedy can do. It's like, it sort of, it makes you stick around longer. Like serious topics are hard to get people to stick around longer because they're just like,
but
sometimes.
It's tapping into an energy, I think.
Yeah, I think it is.
Because you can plan all you want. You can be like, we're going to do this great thing. But if you're not in the zone with each other... Yeah. And this is one thing we always sort of have to come back and work on. If that zone's not right, if we're not really bouncing, you need to get to the bottom of that and go, okay, what do we want to get off our chests? You know, what do we need? You know, you actually have to treat it like a marriage in a sense.
That intrigues me because I've never been in like a radio scenario. And we spoke about before the surveys. Surveys is where everyone catches up as a team and they talk about how you have an affinity with XYZ person who lives in Richmond.
Oh, yeah. Hey, guys, we're number one with 24-year-olds called Jake who live in a street in Melbourne.
Yeah.
It can become very particular, and every radio station will find their own spin.
What do you think then is like the real ROI? Like if you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, you're sitting down with your bosses and your team. What's the thing that you guys really look at? What do you care about?
In terms of ratings or what we want to do?
I'd say what's the marker for you? Like as in, it could be ratings. It could be, I think what Jase has spoken about where people bring up, oh, I heard your thing about the other day. You were speaking about this and that really sort of...
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is when people really resonate with what you're doing and we're having fun. I think if we're having fun, hopefully people listening will have fun. If we're not enjoying it, you can tell.
Is it things as well? Like, do you get pulled up on the street often in public?
Sometimes. Okay. And again, sometimes people will be like, do you find that really annoying? And, you know, sometimes it's not the most perfect time for it to be happening. You might be in a really crap mood. But at the end of the day, that means you're doing your job. Yeah. You are, you know, connecting with people and your content's actually cutting through. So,
yeah,
it's really cool. It is cool.
Yeah. Again, it'd be like sort of that Instagram feedback. It's really nice to see it. When it comes to your process, what is... I guess I'm really intrigued, never being in radio. What does the day look like and what does the week look like? Do you guys meet in the morning, run through, okay, these are the topics we're talking about, you've got bullet points, or have you like properly fleshed out topics? How does it work?
So the night before, I'll do a couple of hours at home. I'll try and find we sort of individually, like particularly Jason and I will look for a few news stories, try and work out what we can do with it, whether it's a phoner, whether it's just chatting about it, getting someone on. And the constant challenge is trying to think of different ways to present it instead of just because, you know, like sometimes you just end up doing a phone topic, just doing a chat, just doing a phone topic, and it can become very rhythmic in the sense that you just kind of do the same thing. And so what Jase is very good at, actually going back to what has he taught me, is going, okay, no, how can we do this different? How can we, you know, what's some way you can present it? Like, do we do
variations on it?
Yeah. And so it's just about, for me, I struggle with coming up with creative ideas, and I don't know if I've made that block there myself. And it's about actually finding a process that's effective to get that creativity. But sometimes I do struggle with, how can I do this more interestingly?
So this makes it, okay, so you would almost go at the start of the day, or end of the day before rather, you got some topics.
Yep, and then we'll send them off to the producers.
Okay.
We'll have because we've got like a show log, which is from 6 till 9.
Yeah.
And often we'll have like benchmarks. We might have benchmark things that we do on the show. We've got our competition like birthday balls, 7:30. We might have a phoner that we've already planned ahead. There might be, you know, and then you sort of fill it in from 5 o'clock the following morning when we make for a meeting.
Yeah.
And then, we normally fill the show between 5:30, 5:45.
Okay.
And sometimes the show will change if something crazy comes up. Jase loves it. They're his favourite days. He goes, I love it when I can just rip up the log. Because he just loves just breaking the rules. And he's like, we're going crazy. But in terms of what do we know, I mean, like, it's not like you're writing down anything. It's all pretty, like...
It is very creative.
So with topics, Jase will bring something and I won't know. Often we won't know. So particularly if it's a personal topic, we hear it for the first time on air, just to get that actual authentic response. When we first worked together, you'd tell the story and then you'd be on air going, no way, that's crazy. And it's just so inauthentic. So Jase was like, nah, fuck that. We're doing it like we're just telling each other.
On the fly, yeah.
Yeah, and then the more you do that, the more you trust each other.
Uh-huh.
And that on your trust is so important.
How would the week differ normally, like in the scale of a normal week?
Yeah.
Is it just the different things that you talk on different days, or is it largely...
So, I mean, we do our show till 9 o'clock, then we do our podcast intro, which often we get all the team in that. There's so many characters on the team. And we've got like a page called PJ's Rich. It's our unofficial fan page. And yeah, everyone loves like Tona Roddy, Veggie Boy. There's so many characters. I feel like I have to say everyone now. Sash, producer Salami, formerly Deviant Davo, Franco, our video guy. We've got Man Bun.
Good old Franco.
Producer Alex, who's like the one who mans the ship. He's amazing. So anyway, I got distracted. But he, what was I saying? After that, I just got... Oh my God, I've been talking for too long.
Don't you love that when that happens and you're like, oh, fuck. No, we're talking about what do you do on a weekly basis? So how does that, and you sort of introduce that with, you've done the podcast intro,
yes,
got all your characters.
And then we might have a meeting with the boss, and then we might have a meeting with people in promotions and just work out like if there's clients that want to have an idea and you have to come up with ideas.
How many hours do you have to record ads every day?
Record ads?
Yeah.
In terms of...
Like, because some shows, they pre-record ads that may be syndicated.
Oh, you mean that play throughout the show?
Yeah.
That doesn't take too long.
Yeah.
Nah.
Because I know that it's few and far between, but I've noticed it's becoming more native. That makes it. Like in podcast ads, you always get the host reading it.
Yeah.
But now I've noticed on quite a few radio stations, you get native host read ads.
Yeah.
So they're pre-recorded something, and
we call them live reads. Are you talking about the ones that pop up in the ads?
Nah, not live reads.
Oh.
They're pre-recorded.
Well, yeah,
I've noticed that on SCA recently.
We'll pre-record it.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And then it will show up in the ads. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. So we'll do a few of them per show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting trend because, I mean, a lot of ads on radio are sort of, you've just got a sound over person that are recorded.
Yeah. I guess they want that kind of organic.
Yeah, they want that
organic
influence.
Connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Okay. And so what time do you normally finish up?
So not as late as the producers. They do the Lord's work. I just need to say that because they'll stay behind. Anywhere like from 10:30 to 12:30.
Okay.
10:30 is an early day, but
Really?
sometimes we'll be like, okay, got to go and live because like Jase and I will just get to a point where we don't have any personals to chat about on the show. So it's like I need to get some content.
That's pretty good. That's not too bad.
12:30 sometimes, but then you might be recording in the afternoons. You might be filming something. Things pop up.
Okay. What do you find are your favourite tools to use? Is it the phone, the dial-in? Is it getting people live in studio?
Ooh.
Is it being outside of the studio?
I love recording random videos, actually.
Okay.
I really like that. Like, we did some stupid sausage videos the other day. We were just literally making them in front of a camera, and it was just so stupid. But, like, it was, I don't know. It was just really fun. It was really fun just not knowing where sometimes things are going.
And this is like this is like a social first video, right? So something that doesn't actually go on.
Yeah. It goes on social, like it'll go on Instagram or Facebook, which is super important. We'll have videos that go up every day, and we'll always have like lots of stories per day.
I can see the Jase and PJ show. You guys convert very well to video.
Oh, thank you.
Like, I think watching Instagram, it's converted very, very well. And particularly when you do things outside the studio, it's I was actually discussing this with Lauren, like, what's the analogy for these guys? And I don't like analogies as a describing mechanism because it's never perfect, right? And people talk about
I'm interested. What have you
Matt
got?
and Joe, they talk about Grubby and Dee Dee. But almost like, I feel like you guys are more similar to sort of Hamish and Andy.
Oh, don't. Stop it.
Like, because it's like that female-male duo, but it is funny.
You know what? Like, we do when talking about shows that, you know, you look up to, how can you not look up to them? And I think we resonate with their vibe in the sense of it's just fun, it's silly, it's not nasty.
And you like to make a bit just for the sake of it.
Yeah, like it's just a lot of stupidity a lot of the time, but I think we just want to feel like we can be people's friends. And we want people to feel involved.
Do you think that, like, if you were to pick sort of leaders in the radio space that you really admire, would be those two, or is there someone else that more directly relates to you guys?
I think, like their ideas and the way they carry and like execute things is pretty incredible. I can't wait to see the new TV show actually. But growing up, it's random, like I used to want to be on BBC Radio 1 and be like a music host. So when it comes to inspiration, I've got a pretty random spectrum of influence.
Did you, like, were you bigger on MTV or like BBC Radio 1? Like, as in, did you prefer radio music or did you prefer the host that would get on sort of, you know, VMA, MTV type stuff?
I think I just liked imagining myself as the host. Okay. Back to being center of attention from when I was young. No, I loved the music side, but
because there's definitely a performer element to your, like, as I said earlier, there's definitely a performer element that you guys both have, and I think it converts really well to video.
Thank you.
Like, you can
You're very kind.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You can definitely see it in. I to be honest, I almost distinctly watch all of. Like, I would prefer if just you recorded the entire episode and put the video up.
Of the whole show?
Yeah.
We've had people say that.
Because I love watching the clips, but there's so much audio these days, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
And I know that myself being a host of a podcast. Yeah. Like, it's overwhelming, and it's entertaining enough to watch at night with Lauren on the couch.
Oh, thank you.
So I would consider it.
Like, I don't know.
Do you guys you must record the whole thing, right? To get the snippets.
The cameras are constantly rolling.
Yeah. Why not?
Our camera guy must have some footage against us, man. We would not want to put him in the wrong. Cause,
the only thing you'd probably struggle with is
I don't know.
when you have to cut the off-air stuff. I guess you have to.
Maybe. And do people have the attention span for that?
100%.
Do you think? 100%.
Yeah.
3 hours?
Do you know... there's these guys, Luke and Lewis, who were at Triple M and they did the Sunday night show, and they wanted to go. Their choices were breakfast or drive. Actually, they were on Fox. What am I saying? So they went Triple M, Fox, and they did fill-ins during the break period and all that sort of stuff. They're comedians locally, and they're just like, we got to go to Warrnambool or Bendigo or something like that. Let's just go start our own show.
Yeah.
And so they now publish the whole thing twice a week. An hour-ish each episode, and I can easily watch that.
Really?
Yeah, it's very entertaining. I think you'd be surprised.
There's a weird voyeuristic nature we have. It's like that.
It's a bit of escapism.
Thing. It is, and I think that's why the marathons that we do, even some of the shit's not that captivating. You know, we're just sitting in the studio, but people
like that.
Have this innate fascination.
They want to see that.
Yeah,
that's what they don't want to get the 100% polished version. They want to get all of it.
People like to see people fuck up and realise you're not perfect.
Yeah. I would seriously enjoy that, I think.
Thanks. I'll pass it on to the producers.
I'm going to send this clip in particular to the producer. All right, we're going to get into some rapid fire questions.
Ooh,
we're about an hour and 10 in.
Are we?
Yeah.
I've got to go look at a house soon. What time is it?
You've got heaps time. You got well over half an hour, so you're good.
Is it nearly 4:30?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's 4:29.
Okay.
Someone was calling me. I'm like, fuck, it's not PJ's real estate person.
Yeah, they've tracked you down.
What the fuck? Why would they be calling me? All right. Okay, so the key to these questions is to answer them fast.
Okay.
Don't do what the Daily Talk Show did and take 20 minutes.
Okay.
We want to do them fast.
Go.
Morning routine. What does it look like?
Get up, meditate.
Yeah. Till 4:20.
Yep. Then have a shower. Put on my face. That doesn't take long. Put on some clothes. Get coffee.
Okay.
That's my first thing in the morning. I need to be better with food in the morning.
Evening routine.
Fine prep. Have dinner. Maybe watch Netflix.
Okay, what have you been watching on Netflix recently?
Oh my God, what's it called?
What's it about?
No, it's that old school one everyone loves.
The King?
Nope. Oh my God, what is it called?
Is it a TV series?
Outlander.
Oh.
Yeah, I started watching that, and also
Is it good?
yeah, it's good. Although I've sort of just tuned out a little bit.
Yeah, my dad said the same thing. He's like, "Oh, you should watch this Outlander series." The next week, he's like, "Yeah, I sort of just tuned out after the second season."
It's because I was like passively watching some of the episodes, and then I just kind of lost track of what
There's
happened.
so much content these days. I want to be really captivated.
Yeah. Also, Fleabag. I watched on the plane. It was amazing.
Okay.
Oh, you got to watch Fleabag if you haven't seen it.
Have you seen? I don't know if you're into history, but I'm a big history buff, so I saw The King recently.
I haven't seen it.
That was with Timothy Chalamet.
I was going to say,
Everyone
was
loves
it with
Timothy.
Colin Firth?
No, no. Actually, it was made by a bunch of Aussies. David Michaud, who made what's that Aussie gangster film about Animal Kingdom? It's now a TV series on Netflix or something
Have
like that.
not seen that.
That is a classic.
Is it?
You have to see it. Just ask Jase about Animal Kingdom.
Will he know?
He'll definitely know.
I don't
it.
know if he'll
That was
know.
one of the, that's like that's just like one of the classic Aussie films in the last decade.
Yeah,
He would
right.
definitely know it. He's one of those guys that would know it. Come on,
You
surely.
think that, then he'll surprise you.
Okay, just ask him tomorrow. For
Okay.
it. And yeah, the King. So the King is made by the Edgerton brothers and Michaud.
Joel.
Joel.
Taryn.
Joel and the brother who's like a director and who's not an actor. I can't remember which one it is.
Who's the one that played Elton John? Taryn. No, they're not. They're not related. Ha,
Spelled
kidding.
differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty good.
Okay.
Best purchase under $200.
Shit.
This one fucks everyone. What's something that you use regularly? Or is memorable?
Oh my God, hang on. I buy a lot of stupid shit.
Dum, dum, dum.
I know. I say that's so boring. I was going to say my salt lamp.
I know what
My solar powered fairy lights out on the deck.
solar powered fairy
It's
lights.
so boring.
What's wrong with that?
It's boring, isn't it?
Mine is, although it's just over, is these little babies.
AirPods,
yeah. One of the best purchases I've ever made.
Don't they give you lots of
Nah,
EMF?
nah.
I get little EMF. Oh, actually, my EMF sticker.
Your EMF sticker.
Yeah.
Do you have that on microwaves and things? Oh,
No, I
God.
haven't got it on my microwave. I've got it on my laptop.
Yeah,
I saw someone on the tram with one the other day. I was
That
like,
old
yes,
chestnut.
I'm not alone.
that old chestnut.
We could be here all day.
All right. Last question.
Yep.
If you're going to have a billboard anywhere, can't advertise Jason PJ,
Yeah.
what would it have on it and why? And where would it be?
Oh my God. Does it have to be to do with myself?
Whatever you want.
Oh my God. My infrared sauna
Okay.
with me in it.
Okay.
Oh my God, this is so bad. And oh God, I'm really failing here. I want to change my answer.
Doesn't like being put on the spot. Well, have a think about this. Where would it be, first of all? You're a Richmond native, so
Yeah.
it's got to be one of two places, surely.
In Richmond?
Yeah. Where do you think that would be?
What about in the middle of the Yarra? Like, cause
In
down.
the Yarra?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd make people look. So, like, just down beyond Burnley Park, there's,
On the water?
yep, there'd be a billboard right in the middle of the water promoting.
You in an infrared sauna. I think that is
That is the shittest
Jase and
answer
PJ, sponsored by infrared sauna.
you will ever get on this podcast. I am so sorry we had to end with that.
The clip is going to be Lauren's definitely, because we're doing a lot of, that's one thing we've got from you guys. We're watching clips earlier. I'm like, we need to do more zoom ins.
Oh, zoom ins, they're powerful, eh?
They're very powerful. I don't know what
They
it
can
is.
create something that's not comical and make it comical.
Yeah. It's like a,
It's like really goes into
it's sort of like
the
that.
thought process of the brain.
Do you know the Muppet meme? How the Muppet, it's like staring straight on and then it's like that? That one? Have you seen that?
You got to explain that to the people listening.
We're gonna
It's
have
like
to-
a side eye.
This is a good clip. This is a very
It's a
good
great
clip already.
So
It's the side eye. It's the Mexican puppet.
Not
from
an
some
eye
TV.
roll.
It's not an eye roll.
more
it's
like
just a-
CD. Like I'm in the corner. Oh, like yeah, right. Like what the fuck have I just
that
done?
frightened sort of like, what?
I just shit my pants. Like that.
Yeah. And it's used fucking every. It's got to be one of those memes that's been around for at least 5-6 years.
Yeah, right. Haven't seen it.
Do love memes. I'm going to show you afterwards.
Okay.
And then we'll make it into a
I'm
clip.
going to be late to my house inspection.
Yeah, well, you need to go. It's
Do you think I need to take him
4:35.
a bottle of wine, or is it too strong?
No, it's very, very, very strong.
Okay.
Where can people find you, PJ?
Well, you can find our show on Kiss 1011 here in Melbourne. You can find us on social, Jason PJ on
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook, and me personally,
PJ DJ.
PJ DJ,
That's a good one. I like it.
PJ DEEJAY on
All right.
Instagram.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for making it to the end. Before you run off, subscribe if you enjoyed this episode, or do leave us a rating. For Instagram, go follow us on @uncommon_podcast. For YouTube, search Uncommon Podcast, and don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this video. Also give us a like or leave a comment on what you thought about the episode. But until next time, thanks so much for listening.